What is up, y'all? I'm the Gym and Outdoors, and this is my channel.
What worries me is a little bit, let me show you when I go by, when you let off the throttle.
Okay.
Yeah. That's one of the things that worries me. And again, it could just be the chain tightness.
It could be.
Possibly. All right, so I just bought this bike. I paid $4,000 for it. He was asking $45,000, and it does have some issues. The chain is insanely too tight, and it's actually making a noise. I'm pretty sure it's the only reason why it's making a noise is I think it's putting a lot of pressure on the output shaft, and then also the triple is kind of cockeyed, and hopefully that's just, I can just reset that hopefully when I get at the house. We'll see. Thanks for your help, baby. Love you.
Yeah. Welcome back, y'all. So today is a little bit different. So I actually purchased this 07 CBR600. Very similar to this one, except not so ghetto. And this is actually for my brother because, well, I'm a lot more experienced in searching for bikes and, you know, what to look for, what not to look for, obviously. And I found this one down here in Florida, and it looks pretty good. So I do have a few things to tweak before I go up to Alabama and take it to him, because I want to surprise him tomorrow morning with it on the front porch, and he doesn't know that yet. He was planning on coming down here a couple days from now, and so this is gonna be a really cool surprise, but there are a few issues that I need to sort out before I go up. So the first thing is the chain. Insanely tight. Absolutely insanely tight. And it had a noise when we were backing it out of his storage unit. It had a really, really nasty, like, rubbing sound, clanking sound, if you will. And he said it was from the chain guard, which I think he genuinely thought it was. I don't think he knew that you weren't supposed to have the chain that tight. So the dude was real cool, and I think he was 100% honest. So the motor is in excellent condition. At least it sounds like it. I mean, it's got 11,291 miles. So super low miles for an 07. He said he actually wrecked at like 4K miles. It's got 11,000 now. He said he wrecked it in the grass at around 4K miles. So dude was brutally honest when I asked him if it was wrecked or not. So dude was pretty cool. I feel like he was an honest seller. So that was, you know, a plus. Also, you know, a tiny scratch on the case cover right there. And then there are some scratches on the stator cover. But you can tell it hasn't had a hard crash. At least the case covers were replaced, if that was the case. So also there's no like rash on the forks, which is good. I mean, it does have the axle sliders, but overall, like, everything looks to be pretty good shape. The frame looks good. The swing arm has a little scuff right there, but overall, The body looks great. Now the fairings they're cheap Chinese. I mean, it is what it is. It's got a couple loose pieces. The plastics don't have like even screws in them, I don't think. Like that one's detached, actually came out completely. He replaced one headlight when he wrecked, he said. So this one's OEM and this one's aftermarket. And it looks like they're not even bolted down, you know, properly. But again, all the cosmetic stuff don't really matter. I was looking for like motor, you know, frame issues. And another thing was the upper triple tree actually was slightly tweaked when riding down the road. Like it was kind of like that, just a hair. Now, I'm hoping it's nothing. I took a risk. The guy was asking 45 and he was originally at 55. He's like, oh, this week only, I'll sell it for 45. Offered him 43. I got there, rode it, had this sound on the front sprocket and the slightly tweaked upper triple tree. And I was like, hey, I'll give you 4. And he took it. So I think it's a pretty good price considering the mileage, you know, the condition of everything. I mean, it's got a clean title in the guy's name. My brother was looking at a lot of bikes that the guys were floating titles. They rode the bikes with no registration, probably no insurance, which that sketches me out. I don't trust anyone like that if they're, you know, daily riding a bike with no insurance, not registered. So that's a red flag for me. So this guy had it registered and insured and it was real nice. So it seems like a pretty good bike. He's had it since like 1,800 miles. Now I will say the guy had it overfilled with oil. Like right there, it's between the lines, but it's on his kickstand. So when you bring it up, you know, level, it's overfilled. I think that showed it. But yeah, it was overfilled a little bit, which don't think that's a huge deal. I don't think it was overfilled too much. Some of the maintenance stuff wasn't ideal. I think he had a few misconceptions on maintenance, but it's, you know, overall the engine still runs great. It looks pretty good inside there. It's missing a bolt on the shifter, which that'll take me 2 seconds to find when I go over there in my bin. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to strap it up here, probably fix, try to realign the front end, just do a quick, you know, loosey-goosey, you know, wiggle, because I've done that on that bike quite a few times, and try to get it straight again, and then loosen up the chain. I'll go take it for a test ride, make sure everything's good, and then we'll load it up on the truck and head to Alabama. Hear that sound? It does not sound good, but I took a risk, assuming that it's just the tightness of the chain. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to throw it up on the rear stand, loosen up the axle, loosen up the chain, and then I'm going to move to the upper triple tree. I will say one thing looks like it appears that the subframe might be slightly tweaked, unfortunately. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. As long as it runs and rides safely straight, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Like, I'm going to crank it up real quick. Put in first gear. Oh, kickstand's down. Whoops. It should probably be rolling faster than that. I think it's too much tension on the chain, so I'm gonna loosen up the axle and slide it forward a little bit. We should be good. Now it looks like the rim is straight, and I do think the subframe is slightly tweaked. Just a hair. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's a 32. Ooh, man, that's tight. The pads look good back here, which is nice. All right. The jam nut loose on both sides, which, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like there's a lot more. Yeah, holy crap. So look how much thread. Actually, let me get a dial real quick. Looks like this guy had the chain adjusted wrong. it was too much on one side. So it's kind of hard to do it actually. Let's just guesstimate. All right, so around 27 millimeters. See, look, holy crap. Look how massive that difference is. So it means the tire's rolling like this. I mean, it's rolling like this and running like that, going at a diagonal. That's why it looks bent. That's the issue, it's not the subframe. Yikes, 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 yikes. I rode it back 30 minutes like that too. So I'm going to adjust that back where it needs to be. Even them out and then adjust the chain where it needs to be. That's why it's super important to know how to properly maintain your bike. So if you can, get a service manual for your bike so you can learn how to do everything, because it's so important. It might be back here, to be honest. Okay, so the chain is loose now. We've still got the noise. That is unfortunate, but I'm going to pull the axle out real quick and see what we got going on. Pull the brakes off. Let's see what we got. All right, we're gonna inspect the cush drive. So nothing looks out of the ordinary. I mean, this does look like it's the right cush drive, and it does fit on pretty tight. So honestly, it's a weird sound for the rear wheel to make. So I'm gonna make sure it's on there good. I'm gonna quickly throw it on without the chain on it to see if it's still making the noise. And it looks like the axle wasn't sitting properly in the slider. So as you can see right here, it's got a lip to where it was sitting. So it actually sits back in there and locks. So it wasn't even sitting on that properly. That could be part of an issue too. So no noise now. Let's tighten it up a little bit. Okay. So all the wheel bearings, cush drive, all that seems to be good. So I'm about to clean these parts with some lacquer thinner and then re-grease them because there is just crap on it. You know, you want to make sure this is a sealed unit. Obviously, when you put the spacer in here, this is a seal, so it keeps everything nice and clean. And it honestly looks like there's some rust in there. So I want to make sure this is clean for my brother so he doesn't have any issues in the future. Or at least it prolongs it at least a little bit longer, because it might be a while before he takes this back off, who knows. But anyway, I'm going to clean those up, re-grease them, and we're gonna throw it all back together. I'm gonna put some wheel bearing grease on this freshly cleaned axle. Just gonna roll it in. The chain honestly could be making the sound too, possibly. I'm not entirely sure. It is an O-ring chain, so it could make like a rubbing sound similar to what it has been making. So we'll lube up the chain after the fact, after we get it to the right tightness, and we'll see if it changes anything. I actually lubricated inside of the seals so we can put the spacer right in. Just try not to drop it out while you move the wheel into place. So you have to put the brakes in. So far it's not making the sound. So I'm gonna spin this out and measure. Try to measure at least. Kind of adjust it in a little bit. This one's gotta adjust out a little bit to be able to kind of match. Unfortunately, it's still making the sound. It might just be the chain, to be honest. I have a feeling it's just the chain. It's making the sound back here and up here. And this guy didn't really know how to maintenance his bike properly, so I'm wondering if it is just a chain issue. So I'm gonna get my brother probably to change the chain out pretty soon. I think the sprockets look pretty good. And hopefully that'll fix the issue, because when I spun the transmission without the chain under tension, it sounded fine. So I'm wondering if it's just the chain. So I'm gonna lubricate a little bit more and probably take it for a test ride real quick. But first I'm gonna find a bolt for this. So first bolt I grabbed worked great. This is actually a 10 mil, so it's not a big deal. 10 mil should work fine. Nice. Let's see if my pit bull stand works for this bike. Yes. Nice. I might just loosen everything up and kind of wiggle it and try to reset it if I can. And if you couldn't see it earlier, here's the oil. You can't even see the top of it. And it's supposed to be at least between those two lines. So this is obviously front and rear stand. It's technically pretty level, so it is overfilled. That's unfortunate. But I'm gonna quickly pull the drain plug off for a second or two and then put it back on real quick and then fill up if I need to a little bit. All right, I'll break it loose. Check the level. Kind of hard to see without light. Holy crap. My gosh. That was way too much oil. Holy crap. It's just at the top line now. I don't know how much oil that was, but y'all saw it. So it was also missing all the bolts on this side of the front fairing. So I'm going to get some of my hardware that I had in my bin. Miller, you owe me for these. These are nice hardware. I'm gonna put some Loctite on them because I don't want these things to come out. And I'm gonna put them in all three of these holes. And since we have it on the front pit bull stand, before we adjust the triple tree, I wanna make sure that the front rim and the rotors are straight. So I'm gonna spin it. That rotor's good. Looks pretty good, and the brakes are not grabbing that hard, which is great. And now I'm gonna look for the rim. Test to see if the rim's good. Looks pretty good. So it looks like the front rim and rotors are good and straight. I didn't feel any kind of vibrations on the way home anyway, so I didn't suspect anything, but it's good to check. I did not feel it, but I'm gonna make sure there's no play in the front end, like the steering head bearing. Pinch bolts down here. So now I'm going to loosen up the last 4 pinch bolts that are on the lower of the triple, and then we should be able to move it and reset it. These are a pain to get to when you have fairings on the bike. So everything is loose. So the steering wheel was tweaked like this and it was going straight. So I'm going to there's actually a good bit of movement. So I kind of reset it. So I'm going to tighten up the top clamps first to hold it where I want it. And then we're going to go through everything and tighten it up again. So we're good. The noise isn't as loud, so I guess that's good. So I just got done, and it sounds like the noise from the chain/transmission area is significantly quieter, but it's still there. But loosening and lubing it actually helped, so I'm thinking it's just the chain. So I'll get him to swap that out ASAP And then, unfortunately, I actually tweaked it the other direction. So it was tweaked slightly this way, now it's tweaked slightly this way. So I'm gonna try to loosen everything up just a little bit and tweak it back a hair. So I got the key, ignition, lined up with the center of the air ram, and you come to the front of the bike. If the front of the bike is straight, it looks pretty straight. So fingers crossed that it's good, or at least close enough. So I got the straps going from the top of the clip on, still rubbing a little bit, which I don't like. Hey.
Surprise!
Hey. What's up?
What are you doing?
I came home. Or
Personal
not home,
delivery.
but I came here.
So what do you think?
I love it. The fairings are gorgeous. I love the.
But they're not parent approved, so gotta cover them up with a sticker.
I'm not
probably.
necessarily talking about that. I just mean the colorway is.
And I'm hoping. I think some of this might rub off.
Oh yeah.
Some of this stuff might not rub off, but I mean, you probably need to get a tank protector on it.
Oh yeah, I was. Gonna say that. There's some great
Didn't come with a rear seat, unfortunately. This clip right here. Oh
Yeah.
shoot, that's broken. So I guess he didn't replace this upper fairing stay, which these are like, I think $20-30. I mean, overall though, like the frame is, you know, clean, swing arm is clean, the forks are clean, which these are really, like the axle sliders are really nice. Like
Yeah.
these are some more expensive, not like the cheap Chinese stuff. But I had to put a new bolt in here because it was zip tied. Look down here, this piece, see that?
Yeah.
How it's like got a mark on down here. He had this flipped up. You know, it's got this special groove for this to sit in here and lock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had it flipped and it was like clamped down onto this bracket. So that wasn't correct. It also, like I said, the adjusters, this one was way in, this one was way out. So the wheel was like cockeyed. Not shifting out of first gear, huh? Shift. Why aren't you shifting?
What?
Why aren't you shifting?
What am I supposed to shift at?
You can shift at whatever, but you're letting it get really high. There's no point in letting it get high.
Guess I'm just used to my 300.
You're using more fuel too. I mean, the biggest thing is how fuel efficient are you trying to be? You're not trying to race. You're trying to race. You're trying to get to the higher you get, the more power you got typically.
Okay.
So if you're trying to be more fuel efficient, just ride around town, you want to shift, you know, fairly early.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Ooh, he's on the clutch. He's gonna practice braking. I mean, you're gonna be riding this on the road, so you want to be very comfortable with this thing.
Yeah. I can't wait till I get a road trip. Get down the road.
getting him to practice stopping on it, because there is significantly more braking capacity with this bike than the 300 he was on. I mean, I was showing him how easy it was to do a stoppie, and obviously if you're too much front brake, you'll flip the bike. I said, don't touch the gears or anything. Just pull the clutch in and stop on the brakes. Huh? No. Just act like it was emergency. Somebody pulled out in front of you, and you have to just pull in the clutch and you stomp on the brake. Act like it's the worst case scenario. Some idiot pulled out in front of you, and you're not even thinking about shifting. You're just disengaging the clutch and then stomping on the brake, kind of thing. Do it a few more times.
So I actually took those videos back in June when I took him the bike, and unfortunately in October there was an incident. Miller was headed home from work at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and some other guy, another college kid at Auburn, turned in front of him. Didn't see him. I mean, Miller was going the speed limit. He just passed a cop. There was a cop at the intersection that he just went through, and he was there instantly. So there was really no doubt in the situation that Miller wasn't in the wrong. The kid turned in front of him. Miller smacked him. Of course, Miller went flying. And it's currently January 1st, and he's still in a wheelchair. He should be walking soon, and he's recovering good, but it is very unfortunate. People stress this all the time, watch out for motorcyclists, and of course, a lot of us bikers are stupid from time to time. I mean, sometimes it's hard not to give it a little throttle or, do something stupid, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't look out for us. In this case, Miller wasn't doing anything wrong, and he almost died. The accidents are going to happen regardless, because a lot of times people aren't paying enough attention to be able to see a bike. And it's frustrating, and that's why a lot of people don't like us riding bikes. But thankfully, Miller wasn't considered at fault, so a lot of the expenses, keyword a lot, not all, are being paid by the other insurance company. And it's very expensive. I think the helicopter flight was like 50 grand. I mean, I got more for Miller's bike than I paid for it, but that's just a drop in the hat, because apparently there's a large deficit between what the bills were and how much the other insurance company paid, which is frustrating, because Miller also lost income because he didn't get to work. So it's frustrating. But apparently the other family had good insurance, apparently. So I had a good buddy back home in Auburn that actually had an accident with a woman. I think she had no insurance. Or it wasn't very good insurance. So they had to sue, and I don't think he got anything. Nothing. May have gotten some bills covered, but it was a nightmare. I think he broke his back. It was just awful. And it was just a nightmare, because he had to deal with breaking his back, but also with a woman that didn't care about him, that had no insurance, and it was just a battle. So thankfully it wasn't a situation like that, but still, it's January 1st. It's been months since the accident. He's still not walking. I mean, he's had like 6 surgeries. He's got a bunch of titanium in him, and it was all because somebody didn't look twice. They made a mistake, and he's having to reap the consequences of someone else's mistake. So it's just very frustrating. Thankfully, he didn't pass away, though. I mean, we are very thankful for that. So anyway, I'm going to show y'all some videos of him and what the bike looks like now.
All of the above. Are you able to lift me just like us? Just put this thing, just try to slide it over best you can.
So we're at the tow yard.
Let's see if we can find the bike. Even recognize it. Oh my gosh. Here it is. Ooh. Yeah, that's not salvageable at all. Holy crap. Yikes. Man. Yeah, insurance is taking that one, that's for sure. Dang, that thing is smoked. Upper fairing stay's gone. Basically. Oh my gosh. Tank is smoked too. Dang. Tag is still there, obviously. He got a custom tag. Psh. CBR. Miller. So here's the helmet. He definitely hit the asphalt for sure, but it did its job. His seam is gone. It's unfortunate, but there it is. The CBR. Not much more that I can take from this thing, really. Opened up the back seat, got some tools from under the back seat and some information. I don't think there's much else that I can take it from it that's, like, you know, not part of the actual bike. And I got the tag, got the phone mount, or most of it at least. Information out the back, tools out the back. Yeah, it's sad. It's real sad to see. I just bought this for him not too long ago. Thankfully he's alive though. Lord was protecting him, because that's obviously pretty bad. And this is a real bad wreck. I wish the car was here to be able to see it. If I was here earlier, maybe. But that thing was smacked pretty hard. I mean, he's only going 55, but still, I mean, 55 to 0, you know, against an object that's a lot heavier than you is, it'll make you stop pretty quick. I think I'm done. Pulled the brand new battery out. I think everything else is just gonna stay with the bike. It is a real sad sight to see. Even though he's hurt, he is recovering well, thankfully. There's a lamp there. Come on, let's play some Super Mario Kart.
So I'm gonna end the video like this. If you're a biker, please, y'all pay attention. Keep your eyes in front of you. Try to be defensive. I mean, keep scanning back and forth. If someone is in the middle lane trying to turn in front of you or turning at a light, slow down a little bit, even if it's slower than the speed limit. Anything helps. And if you drive cars and that's all you do, pay attention. Please pay attention. I mean, again, my brother was going the speed limit and he almost died because somebody wasn't paying enough attention. Just because there's a single light which appears to be far away doesn't mean it is far away. Our bikes, one of these headlights are on unless I turn the brights on. And if you're not paying enough attention, it looks like it could be a car with a headlight out or a car really far away. But it's not. So just pay attention, please. You could save someone's life. And just because they got on a bike doesn't mean they should potentially die because you weren't paying attention. So anyway, till next time, catch you on the flip side.